Hey Nashvillians, welcome to the You Matter Nashville podcast, the place where every story we share is a celebration of you, the heartbeat of our community. I'm Jason Hoover, delighted to be one half of your hosting duo.
And I'm Mindy Hoover, joining you alongside Jason to bring the stories of inspiring individuals and unsung heroes making a positive impact right here in our hometown.
Every episode is about passions, dreams, and actions that stitch together the Middle Tennessee community.
So if you're looking to get inspired by the good happening around us, or if you want to hear from the change makers who believe, just like us, that you matter, then hit that follow button on your favorite podcast platform.
And if you are looking to make a move in the Middle Tennessee area, Mindy and I are real estate professionals and would be honored to serve you with excellence.
Now, let's dive into another episode of You Matter Nashville.
Welcome to another inspiring episode of You Matter Nashville. Today, we are thrilled to welcome two incredible women who are making a profound difference right here in our community, Kretsch and Jessica Guzman. Kay and Jessica, they represent the heart and soul of Dismas House of Nashville. It's an organization dedicated to transforming the lives of formerly incarcerated individuals and strengthening our community through reentry programs.
Kay is a passionate advocate and leader, deeply committed to creating pathways for second chances. Her work has been instrumental in fostering hope and opportunity for those navigating and challenging issues of reentry.
Yeah, and joining her is Jessica, who is a tireless supporter of empowerment and healing. With her unique perspective and dedication, Jessica plays a vital role in ensuring the success and well-being of Dismas House residents.
Together, Kay and Jessica bring a wealth of experience, compassion, and insight to the table. And we can't wait to dive in today to the incredible impact they're making in the lives of so many here in Nashville. Welcome to You Matter Nashville, Kay and Jessica.
Thank you so much.
Hey guys, it's so good to have you on today. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to join us. So we love what you're doing at Dismas House, and we've met with you before shortly, and the impact that you're making is something that really Mindy and I have talked about many times as far as the reentry, getting people acclimated, setting them up for success for once they have gone and served their time and they want to reenter the community. So I am so thankful there are people like you, and especially here in our community, that are helping people reacclimate and get back into the community. So thank you for what you guys are doing. And we can't wait to talk more about Dismas House and from the start of how it began. But if you would give our listeners a little bit of information about what it is exactly that you guys do.
All right. Well, Dismas House is a men's residential reentry program. We are a 72-bed facility, and men releasing from county jails or state prisons can make application to us, and if they're accepted, they'll go through our program. And what we do is we look for people who want change and who are ready to change, but also need support. If they've been incarcerated a short time or a long period of time, it doesn't really matter. It's still a very difficult journey for each individual once they're released from their jail or the prison that they were assigned.
So I love that. So they have a place to go, but they have to be committed and determined. So what are some of the qualifications?
I think we're looking for the qualifications is, are they a good fit for our program? So are they in a place where they are willing to accept help? Because we have a very intensive program, and we look at their mental and physical health. We look at their ability to manage life skills. We provide all of their basic needs. But if they aren't ready for that kind of programming and the rules that we have, which our rules are not to restrict them, our rules are to support them, because our first phase is healing, and we really want them to come in and not work for the first 30 days. So they have to be willing to accept that we're going to slow them down before we speed them up. So our admissions manager spends a lot of time. She not only reviews their application, she does an in-depth interview with each of them. We need to make sure that they haven't had any violations while they were incarcerated in the last 12 months. And they usually get a good recommendation from the facility. And then we look at, are they a fit? And will they respond to what we think we've explained to them and the whole process of our reentry program?
I like what you said about healing, because we never, just think that, there's healing when they come out of prison, but that is so true. There's a lot of pain that they have to work through. There's a lot of, for lack of a better word, baggage that they have to.
We give them the adverse childhood experiences test when they get here. They're averaging a 4, so that means that most of them, they fall into that 17% of the population that's been pretty traumatized with their childhood experiences. And then the other thing is they usually have untreated or undiagnosed mental health issues behind bars because it can be weaponized against them. And then regardless of if they've been in 3 years or 30, we still see adjustment disorder in this population. So it's the equivalent of like a PTSD in how they're going to respond to certain noises and sounds. And it is really an adjustment for some of them. Some of them have no problems, but others have come in and it's been 3 days before they could go back out the door.
And I can see how that could happen. I mean, just from our nation going into COVID state, and so many people were stuck in their homes for 6 months or longer, and then going out, there were a lot of anxiety disorders coming out of that. So I can't imagine, prolonged, like 5, 10 years, 15, 30, and then coming out. That is a whirlwind of emotional overload, sound overload.
Yes. And that's why even how we designed our building has taken all of that into effect. So the first things they regain control of are the things that we take for granted every day. They can control the temperature of their room, finally. They can control the lights, and they have a window that opens. Those are the first 3 things we give them control of on the first day that they arrive.
And so we just don't naturally think of that.
No.
Yeah. It's amazing how accustomed we get to our surroundings and the freedom that we have that we don't appreciate every day.
Now, you guys have been in business, so to speak, for a long time. I would love to hear
years.
Oh my
50
goodness.
years.
I would love to hear the beginnings of this. Like, how many beds, how many people were you serving? Have you always been in downtown Nashville?
Yeah, we were started by Vanderbilt Chaplain University, Father Jack Hickey, who felt that people who were leaving incarceration and restarting their lives over had a lot of similarities to college students. And so together, college students and people leaving incarceration lived together in an 8-bed house on Music Row. So we were on Music Row for 46 years. And we averaged serving about 20 men a year. And the program obviously wasn't what it is today, the holistic services that we now are that include all of the mental health and recovery pieces. But it's been interesting as we've celebrated this 50th anniversary to hear from folks who have been a part of our history. We got a note from the first woman who was ever accepted to Dismas House and how Dismas House changed her life. And because she had a place to go after incarceration and got a letter of recommendation from the CEO at the time, she was able to attend a nursing program and had a very lifelong, fulfilling career as a nurse.
Wow.
It's just really sweet to see how we've changed over time, but how we've impacted not only the people that we serve, but have made an impact in the Nashville community as well.
Absolutely, you have, because these people, they want to change. And
Absolutely.
I love that they're adamant, and stories like that. It's not impacting just them, but it is a generational blessing, and it's for people like you guys that are helping do that. So again, thank you for that. So 50 years, you celebrated 50 years this year, right?
We did.
That's incredible.
That's fun.
So just 4 or 5 years ago, 2020, in the middle of COVID, you guys decided to expand. So you went from 8 beds to how many?
We went from 8 to 72 beds just after the tornado ravaged Nashville, and just before the declaration of the pandemic. So it was quite challenging, and it taught you a lot of patience, because the resources were still being deployed to everybody who was negatively or adversely impacted by that tornado. So we needed Comcast, but if people didn't have any connectivity, I really believe that they should have priority, but we still had opened our doors. And then what happened after that is, once the pandemic was declared, what we did is we shut down our doors, and then got a mobile hotspot and and retooled everything so that we could do everything virtually, because all of the partners that we work with in the community, when we put together our reentry program, were also not seeing anybody. They were doing the same thing in April we were doing. So everything had to be retooled, and we reopened. We still had some people showing up during that time, so we didn't turn anybody away. We just said, you're going to have to be patient while we focus on retooling.
Okay.
It was fun.
It was as crazy as that sounds, right? Like, that's probably not the way that any new building wants to open up. But I think it was a blessing in disguise, because at the time, a lot of people were also just not getting released from prison. So people were just kind of staying in prison. But when they were coming here, they were slowly being released. We could use the space accordingly. So we were able to have, COVID,
a quarantine
room, and, just designate different places of the building to make it work for the times that were happening.
Yeah.
Right. Got to slowly acclimate and build.
Yeah. So the good news is, we did not experience during that time, we did not have COVID cases on our campus, because we brought people in, we quarantined them for 10 days before they entered the general population. And then once they entered the general population, because we knew everybody here was safe, they had to wear their masks when they went out, but they didn't have to wear their masks when they were on campus. And I don't think we had COVID for 2 years. It was pretty much the whole...
When we stopped wearing masks.
Yeah, when we stopped. But the staff had to wear masks. And we, because we provide a very high touch service, we had to be here. So we would see all the healthcare workers were across the street from TriStar and Sarah Cannon on Charlotte Avenue. So we would see all the healthcare workers coming in, and knowing that we were right there with them, helping this community as it was releasing from incarceration, and providing their services.
So during COVID, you expanded. So that's a little bit of a COVID crazy, right? That was it was a very interesting time that we went through, but you guys were still able to support those that were there. Now, was it in 2020? You went from the smaller place to the 72 beds. Did you already have people lined up for those 72 beds?
We actually had a plan, and our plan was we have 56 program beds, and each of the wings of the building has 14 beds in it. So our goal was to do 14, stabilize, another 14, stabilize, and keep like every quarter increasing, and then adding the staff and training the staff and having time to do all that. But that's the plan, ha ha ha. And then there's the reality, which is we got really good at our plan, and we had probably over 30 men here, and all of a sudden the TDOC stopped releasing people from incarceration, because it was like September. It wasn't long after that. Like, there wasn't anybody who was released from prison in September, and we're all just going, wait a minute. So we don't bring everybody. We don't bring 14 people in on day one. We spread them out, so we get so many a month. And that month it was 0.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
So I know they were really struggling behind bars.
Oh my goodness! And to have their time extended, that doesn't even sound fair. Now,
their time was extended because they needed a class. Their condition of parole was that they had to take a class, and the classes weren't being taught in the prison, so they couldn't. So it created an impossibility of performance, which they had to resolve.
Now, with that, I know that there is a high reentry rate, right? People who are released in it's a pretty big chunk, like a third of inmates end up going back. Your program is to stop that, is to reduce that number greatly as much as possible. About where are you guys sitting at for people who go through your program successfully?
So our first cohort that graduated, that was our class of 2020, has we completed that, and our recidivism rate was 10%.
That's
so
incredible.
That's not where we wanted it to be. That was our goal, but we had not added our clinical team at that time. So cohort 2, we're just starting to get the recidivism rate data on it, and they're at 2.5%.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So that clinical
That's
team
amazing.
is having a huge impact. So we have a certified peer recovery specialist, and we have a therapist, and we have student interns that are working to get their therapeutic licensure, and they are providing all of that front-end support that they need to prevent relapse and to really help their recovery journey as well as their reentry journey.
Just how amazing would it be if every prison in America had these programs going on while they were incarcerated? It would be life-changing for families, for the individuals, just period, for America.
Well, and then we'll talk about the taxpayer side of it, right? Because the average cost of incarcerating an individual for 1 year is $40,000.
Oh my goodness!
So if you're putting,
so
if you're putting a third of them back, that's huge. If we're only putting 2 back, there's a big savings from having this type of program.
That's a very good point.
Very good point, and a lot more healthier people.
Correct.
That's right.
Yeah.
Better community members and people who actually want to participate. They want to pay taxes. They want to contribute to their Social Security and their Medicare, all those things that we just take for granted, and they are playing catch up.
So take me through the process of a new inmate that has been accepted, or actually a step back, who wants to apply to be to live there. Can you take me from that standpoint of what they have to do?
So they'll fill out an application and submit it to our admissions manager. And like Kay said earlier, our admissions manager has a lens of trauma-informed lens and has, taught us about ACEs. She's our ACEs trainer. So she looks at the application and really just makes sure that the person who has applied has the will and the desire to come to a program like ours. They're going to do the work that we need them to do to graduate in this program. And, like Kay said, there are rules and there's things that they have to abide by, but they're all part of the program. And in the end, it's to set them up for their success and self-sufficiency. So they'll meet with Cleopatra. She'll work with the clinical team and the VP of programs to just, ensure that they are in fact a good fit. And then they'll get notified that they have been accepted. And so that typically happens no more than like a month out from when they're expected to leave incarceration. And then they get here.
Sometimes they even arrive on the day they say they will.
Sometimes they don't. But a lot of them come, they get on the bus and they arrive here, or a family member might bring them. But typically they'll arrive just with the clothes on their back and maybe a small sack of belongings, if anything, which is not much.
Right.
Yeah, they'll have their papers. They get like $25 and a bus ticket. And so they pretty much have a pack of cigarettes, but they pretty much walk in whatever they have, they walk in the door with, unless they have like a family member who's going all out. But we provide everything. We cover, food, clothing. We know their clothing sizes. So when they come in, they have 3 days worth of clothing. They have shoes. They have shower shoes. We provide all the linens. We provide all the towels, everything they need. There's even a basket of snacks and personal care items, so that for the first 30 days, they can just focus on healing. That's really the most important phase.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing to note is our program is only 90 days. So it may seem to the to the applicants and the future residents that 90 days might be a long time, but it goes by so quickly. We keep them really busy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
90 days. I was actually expecting it to be longer than that.
Well, they can stay as long as they need to, right? If they need more
okay.
time or want to have continued wraparound services, if they move into our independent living, this is just a safe place and a sober living environment. So for some, 90 days isn't enough. That's okay.
Right. And I do want to get to that independent living. That's on the top floor. But before we do, so once they get there, that first 30 days, what is life like?
So we have a 3 days of intake where we're meeting with them and talking to them. We not only give them ACEs, we also have this other assessment test. That's the Arizona Self-Sufficiency Matrix. It's used a lot with homeless populations and that, and it has 18 parameters. And what we're trying to do is baseline, like where are they? And it also, by looking at what's in that assessment, we work with them and say, what do you want to prioritize while you're here? Is it improving your financial stability? Is it improving your family relationships? Is it going back to school? They take this assessment so that we have a pathway to really create a plan that is specific to their needs. Everybody here is an individual. It's never a one-size-fits-all. And that's what we do. And then our certified peer recovery specialist meets with them, and that's where we talk about relapse prevention.
Okay.
So the first 3 days are pretty intense.
Immediately, you're having them set some goals.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
I like that. So that's the first 3 days. And so from there, do they go and is there a certain period of time before they can go get a job, or is that case by case basis?
Yeah. And by week 2, they're ready to go over to like Project Return for a 3-day class that Project Return teaches. That is like a job readiness. It makes sure they have their 2 forms of ID for the job. So it'll help them get a copy of their birth certificate if they need it, and then a picture ID, a photo ID that can be used. And the case managers that is assigned to them is working with them on understanding their triggers, talking to them about how the workforce has changed. Like if you haven't been in the workforce in 30 years, it's going to be a real change. So talking to them.
Very good point.
Yeah, about what they're going to experience in the workplace, finding out what kind of work they want to do, making sure that they're going to find something that's meaningful. Unless
Technology.
they're like, unless after 90 days they know that they're going to go back home to their families, but most of them stay here. So we really try to put the community connections and make sure their resume is ready. They're doing mock interviews. They're looking for jobs during this time, but at the same time, we're really coaching them on helping them with their life skills. So before they ever go to work, they'll have a bank account. So they have 4 banking classes they have to take. We call it financial literacy. Fifth Third Bank comes on site and educates them on their credit score. And so when they start work, they will have a bank account. They don't have to use any of the more risky banking vehicles that are out there.
Because most employers, they now have direct deposit. So having that is really, really great. Now, after they've done this 9-day program, I know you've mentioned a few times about the 4th floor, the extended living, and it's really just really great, affordable housing. Again, it's that next step of freedom, giving them some ownership. But I'd love to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, our independent living program is just an opportunity for folks who feel like they want to remain on campus. Again, it's a sober living environment. It's a safe place, and they know us here, right? They've been here for 90 days, and so they still receive those wraparound services. So if they want to talk to their counselor, if they're still, working their recovery plan, all of that is here. And quite frankly, it's a studio apartment, essentially, and you can't beat the rent. Most of them, if they've gotten their jobs, They're saving up for something. And so this is just a great place for them to either save up for their new apartment once they're ready to be out on their own, or if they want to get a house or whatever the case may be. So we love our fourth floor guys.
Yeah.
They're, a lot of them have been here for a couple of years now and just really enjoy what Dismas offers for them. You know, we pride ourselves on saying that Dismas is family. And I will say the minute that, you know, we have a new resident walk through the door, that is absolutely the feeling that they get. You know, we make sure that we call everyone by their names. That typically doesn't happen, you know, when they're in prison. And we say hello. And a lot of the guys, you know, for me, being on the non-programming side of things, you know, I'm not interested in what happened before they came to Dismas House, right? I want to get to know them for the person that they are today and be a part of their journey and their transformation. And so it's just amazing to see. And we get to see the longer term effects of Dismas House with our fourth floor guys.
Yeah.
Now, in the fourth floor, it's at 14 beds or 14
There's
rooms? 16 rooms.
16.
And now, do they pay any type of rent?
Yes, they do. It's on a sliding scale based on how much they earn. And so we have found that our the residents here that have a violent felony record really have a very hard time getting above $16 or $17 an hour. So they're going to pay $175 a week, where some of the others who have they may have drug charges or nonviolent charges. They usually are paying $200 a week because they're able to get $20 an hour or more.
Okay.
Most of them don't break $25. So if we look at what the area median income cap is for a single adult, they would have to be making almost $27 an hour to be, you know, surviving.
Comfortable.
I don't even want to say comfortable. Yeah, it's
Just to survive in another studio apartment somewhere.
You know, it's really important as part of our program is that we help them break that cycle of poverty. It takes 3 years to get out of that cycle of poverty. And we try to really collapse that for them by having subsidized housing, subsidized, all the programming is free. We subsidize their food. We subsidize their transportation. We do as much as we can so that they can get ahead, because they still, I mean, I don't think people realize how much they have to pay. So parole is $40 a month.
Right.
And if you're going to be on parole for 6 or 7 years, that's $40 going out every day. Your child support starts up again on day 61. You have, we provide the first 30 days for free, but on day 31, we need to make sure they're ready to work so that they don't fall far behind in fees, and we can make sure they're paying $165 a week to have a program bed. And so we do everything we can to help them get there and provide all of the supports they need that are free. They don't need $1 when they come here, except for cigarettes. Everything here is provided. Soap in the shower is provided. Shampoo is provided. So they can really get ahead. Laundry is free.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
I think it's also a testament too that we will collaborate and partner with fair chance employers, second chance employers who are really going to treat the men that we serve well. You know, they're going to give them a career path. They're going to give them benefits, insurance, and they're going to pay them a living wage, if not more. And so all of these components really set them up to be self-sufficient in the end.
That was going to be my next question, where the community partners that you guys work with finding jobs for the people at your facility, and also the businesses that come in to do things to support you financially or to teach classes like you had mentioned with the finance classes.
Yeah.
So who all comes in and steps in, I guess, to help you guys out?
Well, I'll talk about one that you don't even think about is HCA comes over and teaches cybersecurity. This population, because they haven't been into laptops and cell phones and that don't realize that they are very, very vulnerable for phishing and scammers.
Yeah, they are.
And so
That's
we
very
had
true.
some who lost every nickel they came to us with because
Mm.
they didn't understand that. So we have that class taught by HCA, and we're so grateful for it because it makes a huge, huge impact.
Or what dating looks like now with online dating
Okay.
and phishing and scamming and,
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Yeah. So, and then another thing is some of them come to us and they're medically frail. So usually our most common untreated ailment coming from incarceration is hernias. Because that's an outpatient surgery, it's not considered medically necessary for the time that they're incarcerated. So when they get to us, they can't work. So we have a partnership with the Urban League who will pay for their monthly fees, their weekly fees for up to 4 weeks while they're recovering from a surgery that's usually provided by Vanderbilt Shade Tree.
Mm-hmm.
So Vanderbilt has been just a great partner of ours, and Urban League has been a great partner of ours, and Project Return has been a great partner. And then we have
All the food partners,
all
the
the-
Nashville Food Project, Second Harvest,
and I'm always forgetting
Charlotte, Mama Blanche.
One Generation Away is dropping off food, and then we have just people in the community who bring men's clothes to us. Victory Supply is also great to us. They gave us winter coats this year for our residents. They also provide the shower shoes and some of the
linens,
sweats for us. Some of the local hotels, when they're changing out their pillows, these are really nice hotels that they'll bring over their gently used pillows to us. So we have a lot of different organizations that are really helping us out.
I love to hear that. That community is just embracing and helping these people.
As we say, it takes a village.
It
really
does.
does.
Amen.
Now, with like the perception, of that people have, of inmates coming back into society, like you had talked about, you guys have partners to help them find jobs. But of course, there's a lot of people who won't consider them. Like, what do we need to do to help advocate for these people and to help them be seen differently? Like, what do we need to do as a society to give these guys another chance?
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is accept that sentence was the punishment. And unfortunately, some employers are still wanting to punish them because they won't hire them. So it's like, well, so they don't look at the fact this person served 30 years. They may have done second-degree murder. It's a horrible crime. It has terrible victims on it, but we have to make room for this person because if we marginalize them, they're just going to end up in and out of the system, and we don't want that.
Right.
We have to find our compassion, and there is no one more aware of the crime that they committed than the residents here at Dismas. But all they're asking for is, just accept me. Please find a way to accept me back into the community.
We all make mistakes.
Yeah, we've made, and some of them are horrible.
Yeah.
But we need to, if we don't help them, they're going to do more harm, and we want them doing more good. And they're capable, extremely capable of doing good.
That's why we invite the community in. We do community dinners Monday through Thursday, and it's just a really sweet way for the community to just have a meal with our guys and have a normal conversation and, destigmatize what someone who's been previously incarcerated looks like or acts like, or, and then it also helps them as they reintegrate as well, right? So they may be shy or they may be used to people treating them a certain way, especially when they were in prison. And so to have someone in the community come and have a conversation and share a meal and show that they care really goes a long way.
Now, you said you invite the community?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's neat. So is that open to anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, you sign up on our website to come in and serve a dinner Monday through Thursday.
Every week.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to help us over the holidays, they can. So we had a pretty full house over Thanksgiving, and I'll be doing Christmas Day. with the residents. So some of them, are working and they can't really go home, and some of them don't have a family to go home to.
And then some of them bring their families here.
Yeah. So we have a very lovely event with the residents where we just share a meal and share stories and just show everybody some support and some love.
I love that.
I
That is
do
dear.
too. That's amazing. So now, is there like an age limit as far as like kids or anything coming in?
No, we don't take sex offenders on our campus, so we really encourage it. We have one. We try to get the dads reunited with their kids. We have a program for the non-custodial parents, and we happen to have a little 3-year-old here that's on campus when his dad is here at least twice a week. He doesn't spend the night, but his dad takes care of him, so everybody knows him. He's just the sweetest little boy, and he loves pushing any buzzers or bells or elevator buttons. So if you're going to get on the elevator,
he's got to push it.
You're going to see every floor.
You guys see every
I
floor.
love that. I may have been that kid once or twice.
We all were, weren't we?
Yeah, right. The shiny button. So you guys had mentioned earlier that you do get so many wonderful donations and support from the community. What are y'all's greatest needs? Like, is it like tangible things that you need donated? Is it monetary donations that you're really needing? What keeps you guys afloat?
Well, my answer will always be monetary since I'm the VP of development. We could always use financial support in my world. But really, I think the in-kind donations go a really long way as well, because we go through all those things so fast, and it's not cheap anymore, right? So it's like the bathroom supplies, the toiletries that they get when they first get here. It's the clothing, it's the bedding.
And so we do have an Amazon wish list, but if companies have a group of employees and they want to do something, we just encourage them to do a toiletry drive, winter coat drives. You can also just say we're going to help you stock your pantry, so we're going to do a peanut butter jelly and canned soup drive. Because all of those, it's not any one big thing. It's 100 little things. Toothbrushes. I don't know if you bought one lately, but they're not cheap either. And so anything we can do to make sure that their money that they're being able to get out of poverty and pay the fines and fees and whatever they need to pay before they can get their life started. So whether it's an in-kind or a monetary donation, it all makes a difference. But there's little things
that go a long way. We have a former resident who comes to give haircuts for free.
Oh, neat.
Out of the kindness of his heart, and some of these guys need haircuts, right? They're trying to get their first job, since they've been released. And, who doesn't want to look dapper on their interview day or their first day, or who doesn't want to keep up their grooming, right? So a nice haircut.
Well, and something simple like that gives them confidence.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And
And Jason, you are so right. That is really what we are working on. Is their path to self-sufficiency is around building a confidence again in their skills, because they have been really. They haven't had really a kind word for however long they were incarcerated.
I think we hear a train coming through.
Wow.
It's right behind us.
It's literally like...
Sorry, you know what? That reminds me of my dad. My dad passed away last year. And but every time he heard a train, he retired from the railroad. He said, well, there goes another paycheck. So every time I hear a train, I think of that now. So anyway, back to
I can't believe you heard that.
it picks up.
I mean, it is like literally right there, like on the other side of this TV that we're staring at.
40 feet away, outside. So,
right. So I'll tell you what, on the for people that want to get involved, whether it be donations, the Amazon list, which I think that's fantastic, to serve or just to connect and show up, what's the best way for them to do that?
All of our information is on our website, so you can go to dismas.org. We have a volunteer page that really lists out all of the volunteer opportunities, and there you can sign up for community dinners. And then we have an in-kind page as well that lists everything that we're currently looking for that we do keep up to date with the links to our Walmart wish list, our Amazon wish list as well. And then, of course, there's the donation page where you can see all the things that we've got going on, a few campaigns, especially for this year, our 50th year. And then I think the most important page is people just want to sign up and learn more about us and be in the know. We have a monthly newsletter that goes out. We are on every social media you can think of, so people can keep up with us that way, receive our monthly e-newsletter. And then we have our stories that we share. So we have blog posts that we have. And so we have a stories page. They can hear about all the great things that are happening and really be more in tune with the success of each guy.
And we do program previews the third Thursday of every month that you can also sign up for if you want to come on campus, and there'll be a resident that is a part of that luncheon. It's a free lunch, and you can come on campus and get a tour of the campus, meet one of the residents, and learn about our story and have it's like a lunch and learn around what we do.
That's great.
All right, so we may have to sign up and attend and do that
Yes.
sometime. I like that.
We'd love to have you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, this sings to our hearts. Mindy and I we're very judicial minded and want to be sure that people are welcomed back. Those that want to be reformed, and we both believe in the core of everybody. There's a good person, and
Absolutely.
sometimes life just doesn't go your way. Let's just put it that way. It doesn't go your way, and you make decisions, good or bad. And I love that there are programs like this. There are people like you that are helping them, restore that hope, restore that love in these people that, that have, experienced a dark place in life. So I have loved this discussion. Before we wrap up, is there anything else that we haven't touched on that you would like to share with our audience?
I have two things. One is that, we haven't talked about like when they're ready to leave the campus. We actually have a housing coordinator who is now their advocate. So we didn't have that in the past. It's one of our newer positions. But she, just like we're finding the fair chance employers, we're finding the fair chance housing network and developing that for them. So they won't be taken advantage of by a landlord who's going to insist on a 3-month security deposit and a first month's rent.
Right.
That's impossible. Can you imagine if somebody asked us to pay 4 months rent or 4 mortgage payments? Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So that's one. And the other thing that I'm going to throw over to Jessica to talk about is we have fundraising events that are really a lot of fun. And we'll have one this spring that's just really, really good for people. So Jessica.
Please share.
So we have our spring fundraiser that's called Whiskey, Wine, and Whiskers. It's a fairly new event. It's going to be in its fourth year in May. So May, 17th? Is that a Saturday? We'll have to get you the date.
Okay.
So we have whiskey vendors and we have wine vendors, and people can bring their dogs, hence the whiskers portion. And it's really just a fun time for people who want to get introduced to Dismas House, but maybe not come to a sit-down event or a more formal event. So you get tastings, you get to hear music. We've got an info booth there. We do a silent auction as well. And it's just really a couple hours of tasting with your friends, food trucks.
Nice.
This past year we did it at the Horton Sobro, and that's where we'll be again in May. And we look forward to it every year. So stay tuned for that. And then in the fall, we do our annual fundraiser, which is our forgiveness luncheon. And so this year for our 50th anniversary, we changed that to a wonderful gala evening affair. And we tweaked it with some live auction items. We sold a couple of trips, and we introduced a new kind of giving component this year that will continue into future luncheons. So those are our two big events. We're currently in a year-end campaign. So we kicked that off this week with Giving Tuesday, and that'll go through the end of the year. So for this year, it'll just be a culmination of our 50th anniversary. So our theme for the year has been a legacy of change makers. So you'll hear not only from folks who have gone through the program and have graduated and have been impacted by our work, but also from volunteers, from board members, and from the people that are involved, and why they love Dismas as much as we do.
That sounds amazing. Definitely, if we're in town in May, definitely we'll want to partake in that. And
yeah, you get to show off your little four-legged family.
Oh
member.
my God, we do competitions too. I forgot to mention that we do like a best dress competition for the pups, and then we do what we call a pup strut.
Do you have one for Crazy Wild Child? Because I've got one of those.
We'll take them. It's an indoor-outdoor venue, and obviously they allow pups, but we also have what we call the potty zone, which is a little gated, fenced-in area, so the pups can be off-leash while they're in the potty zone.
That's awesome. Great. I love
Thinking of everything.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Well, yeah, Mindy, I think Jason's going to be making dad pun jokes all day now.
Oh yeah. I mean, what else do you expect?
Right, exactly.
We have a family chat on our texting, chat group, and now they never even respond. They used to respond with like a head, face palm or something.
Not even like a thumbs up. You don't even get a thumbs up anymore.
I don't get anything.
We just look at it and go, okay. We appreciate it. We appreciate it, but sometimes our daughter is the only one that responds.
Doggone, Jason, it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Great, I'll just start sending it to them.
There you go. Well, Kim and Jessica, I have thoroughly enjoyed having you two on today and just hearing everything that you guys do for the community. I mean, it's really incredible. And if we could just take what you guys do and stamp it into every prison across America, I really think we would have incredible change. So thank you for what you do and just being the light for everybody that comes through your program. It is so desperately needed. And I know that all the families that you guys have served and you've worked with just feel 10 times more than what I feel just listening to all the good that you guys do. It's just incredible. I from the bottom of my heart, I believe in the mission in just reforming, and as a Christian,
instilling
I believe
hope again.
Yeah, we all have room to grow and to change. And so thank you. Thank you for that.
Well, thank you. It was delightful to be with You Matter Nashville. Thank you.
Absolutely. Love this interview. You guys are so important. I know a lot of times it's a thankless job. So thank you. I do appreciate you. And I'm sure many, many others do as well. You're making lives better. You're changing people's lives. There's so much that you're impacting. Thank you for doing what you do. All right. And that's going to be a wrap for today's episode. To everybody listening, thank you for tuning in. And if this has touched your heart in any way, please go to their website, dismas.org. That's DISMAS.org, and see what you can do to plug in or give back to them. Mindy and I, we are definitely going to take you guys up on maybe coming by and stopping by, and if nothing else, definitely the May event. But if anything speaks to you, please go to that website and sign up and get involved. All right. Well, we love you, Nashville. Have a blessed week, and always remember that you matter. And that brings us to the end of another episode of You Matter Nashville.
We hope today's show has left you feeling as uplifted and inspired as we are. Remember, the spirit of Nashville lives in all of us, and every small act of kindness echoes throughout the community.
A huge thank you for listening and even being a part of our You Matter community. If you love this episode, please share with friends and leave us a 5-star review. It helps us reach more listeners and spread the love.
And if you know anyone that is looking to make a move to Middle Tennessee area, we are real estate professionals known as the Hoover Team, and we would be honored to serve them with excellence.
Until next time, keep making a difference, Nashville. You matter more than you know.